Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Cloud Ops Central. In our last episode, we connected a Windows Server 2025 version to pfSense, and we did set a static IP address. In this episode, we're going to turn that same server into a Windows Active Directory server. Hi, my name is James, and you can catch me on YouTube at Cloud Ops Central. I also have a website called cloudopscentral.net, my personal website, jamesking.info, and my GitHub at github.com/cloudopscentral. I hope you will hit that like and subscribe button. Let's go ahead and get started and pull up our server from the last week. I went ahead and started it. We did build a couple servers, or I did. This is the one that we're going to be using today. I have another test server, a test version of Windows 11, and the Windows 11 that we will be using either today or in the next video, where we can join our Windows 11 machine to our Active Directory in our Windows 2025 server. The first thing you want to do after you log in is you want to go up to Manage, and we can say Add Roles and Features. And this is where we're going to add our Active Directory server. You don't have to do anything here. You can just press the next button. And we are going to say we are going to keep it at the role-based or feature-based installation. Go ahead and click Next. We can skip this part and click Next. And this is where we need to get into our Active Directory Domain Services. So let's go ahead and select Active Directory Domain Services. It will give you some tools that needed. Let's go ahead and say Add Features. And we're going to say Next. You can just say Next here as well. It is going to take a while to do this. You can read over the notes. Otherwise, you can just say Next. It's all pretty straightforward. And here, we're not going to worry about this. We don't need to worry about restarting the destination server. This is the server we're using, and we're going to go ahead and say Install. Now, that will take a couple moments. While it's going, I'm going to put the video on pause, and I'll be back when it's finished or when we get to the next step. I will take a moment to point out that it says you can close the wizard without interrupting running task, and you can view the task again. As you notice, we are about 50% finished. We'll still wait. It's still not finished. We are getting close to being finished. And I want to go ahead and show you that I did set up our Windows 11 device. I went ahead and installed it. Before the lesson started, I want to show you that I can ping the current server. The address of the current server is 192.168.10.11. And I will give you the IP address of this device. We're going to use the IP address 192.168.10.11 as the gateway into our server when we complete the installation of Active Directory. It does look like it was finished, so let's go ahead and take a look. You can click on the close. And if you notice, our file and storage services are available, and our Active Directory is available also. And just to give you some ideas of what you can do with Active Directory, it is used for user authentication and login, centralized management, where you can manage all users, computers, printers, and permission, access control, group policy management, resource organization, single sign-on, all the things such as that people might say, well, how does that happen? It happens through Active Directory. If you're looking at the window, you do notice that there is a triangle with an exclamation mark. We do need to go ahead and click on that. And we're going to promote this server to a domain controller. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to add a new for us because we don't currently have one and we're not going to join one. So what is the root domain name? Currently, the domain of mine is cloudopscentral.net. So let's just do something. If we wanted to use that, we could. Um, let's see if I want to go ahead and use that. It would be okay if you used it as well. All right, why don't we go ahead and use the name lab, because this is a lab, at cloudopscentral.net. Let's give that a try. Go ahead and click next. Again, that should probably take a moment or two. We will try to hurry. If you notice, it does ask us some questions. We want to select a functional level. We're going to leave all these by default. And we can set a password. It's not ready yet. If you're asking what is DNS, let me go ahead and let you know that DNS does translate names into IP addresses. We will give our computer a name and it will get an IP address. DNS will say, hey, let's take this name such as google.com and translate it into something like 8.8.8.8, which is a Google DNS server. That's one of our defaults. So that is something that DNS does. For our use, our server lab.cloudopscentral.net translates into 192.168.10.10. So when we tell computers to find lab.cloudopscentral.net, that's where they're going to go to, 192.168.10.10. We are ready to move on. I am going to go ahead and give it a password. I don't want anybody to know what it is, so I will assign it privately. You should set a password policy for your organization, minimum of 8 characters. I know that some require 12 for administrator passwords. I would probably stick with a minimum of 8 for users, a minimum of 12 for admin. So now that we have the password entered, let's go ahead and select next. And it says a delegation for this DNS server cannot be created because the authoritative parent zone cannot be found. We're not going to worry about that. We're not going to create it. We're going to go ahead and select next. Same with the NetBIOS name. It's going to pop up and give us a name for us to use, which is lab. We're going to say next. We're not changing any of the defaults. We're going to select next. You can read through this if you want. It does tell us the name of our domain is lab.cloud.central.net. We might want to copy that, so let's go ahead and copy that for our use. I do have it copied. Let's go ahead and say next. At least I hope we have it copied. We're waiting to see if there's any prerequisites for the domain controller operation. Again, this can take a moment or two. A lot of organizations today will break down a physical server and break it into many small servers. That's always a good idea, and that's kind of what we're doing today is we're showing how we can take a physical server, which is my computer, my base computer. We're installing Windows Server on it, and we've actually installed several different versions on it, which are a lot of enterprise practices. Now, we do have a message. If we want to install any of that, we can. We did go ahead and click the next button. I'm so sorry. I skipped that. It just came and said, hey, let's go to the next step. Click install, and I did that. Okay, it is finished. It says you are about to be signed out. The computer is being restarted because Active Directory domain was installed. It automatically did it on its own. When it boots back up, we'll be able to log back in, and we are logging into our Active Directory server, our primary domain server. I am in scaled mode, so I was able to hit the right control key plus the delete key, and that allowed me to get into where I can do the control alt delete without doing control alt delete. So let's go ahead, enter the password, and get back into our system. We're not going to add a computer to our domain today. We are actually going to stop here once it finishes booting back up. I don't want the video to run too long. We're already over 12 minutes. So once it does finish booting back up, we'll leave it right here for the time being. In our next episode, we will go in and add both a computer and a user to our Active Directory domain name server. All right, it has completed the loading. Everything looks good. We do have an Active Directory domain service server and a domain name service available. In our next episode, we will again add a new computer and a user. But for now, this has been another episode walking you through the installation of turning a computer into an Active Directory uh, service. Please hit that like and subscribe button and catch me in my next video. Have a good day.